Windows has got a bad rep, and some of it's deserved, and a lot of it is urban legend and just shenanigans. People complain about the viruses, but i- if you stop going to porn sites, you're not gonna have viruses, right? It's gonna be okay. You know what? If you got an email with some Nigerian prince asking you to send them money and you don't click the link, your laptop's probably gonna be okay. Like for the most part, you're not gonna have that many problems. It's honestly is how you use it. And Windows has gotten a bad rep for a long time. Like from Vista days, well deserved. The problem with Vista was Vista as a product was okay, but they rushed the release and it put it on underpowered computers. And so it was more of an issue of the system with Vista was fine, but the computer that they sold it on wasn't strong enough or fast enough. And so it looked like, oh, Vista is garbage. But if you had a vast computer and you put Vista on, you were like, this is fine. Going up to Windows 10 and Windows 7 and 8. I think Windows 8 was fine, but people got mad because of the design layout. It was the basic underpinnings of Windows 7, just more optimized. But people looked at that and like, oh, that's ugly. And I don't blame them. It was ugly. I skipped 8 and I kept 7 and jumped right to 10. And I don't blame people at all. Like honestly, Windows 8 was ugly as sin. Windows Vista was on underpowered computers. And if you notice, the Windows Vista computers, that the second generation of Windows Vista computers, when you put Windows 10 7 on them, were great. And you're like, well, wait a minute. Was it Windows Vista or my computer was a piece of crap? The other biggest problem for Microsoft and Windows computers is that the hardware for a long time has been hot garbage. And then, you see your friend on the MacBook Pro getting a latte in Starbucks, and you're like, oh, that looks nice. And it does look nice. Like the hardware has come a long way for Windows computers from where it started. I think that there's a couple, Lenovo has solid looking computers. Samsung had really nice computers. Dell, the XPS line was phenomenal. It still is. And just overall packages of you're like, well, I'm not ashamed to pull my Windows computer it looks like some Legos together with duct tape. Like that's what that's what it looked like before. Like Windows computers are hot trash looking. They're just garbage. And the aesthetic of what these things look like matters just as much as how they run and what you use them for. I told this before, but I switched over to Windows because I use Adobe. I don't use Final Cut. I use Adobe Premiere to edit videos, and I use Photoshop and Lightroom. And these are things that I like using. I got them down packed. I've been using them for a long time. These things run better on Windows. It's a fact. It just run better on Windows. People can debate me in the comment section, and that's fine. But Windows has support for NVIDIA and Apple doesn't. And so you're basically having to use the raw power of the Intel chip to push this boulder up the hill when you can cut this thing in half and do half the work if you had a really good video card. And Apple does not support NVIDIA for whatever beef Steve Jobs had with NVIDIA, and it hasn't fixed. It's still, how many years after Steve Jobs died, Tim Apple is still holding on to this beef. So it just NVIDIA and Adobe Premiere work the best. They just do. Now with the M1 chips, Apple and Final Cut works best. It just does, and it's not even a fair comparison at this point because the way I want to get into that. I'm talking about Windows 11 right now. The overall underpinnings of Windows 11 is still going to be Windows 10, just refined, polished up, and they're going to work on the visual aspect because Windows 10 was still a hodgepodge of Windows 7 stuff. And you're not going to see it on the basics. You go into options and everything, and the basics is there. But if you dig down into the menus, Windows 7 window is going to pop up because they didn't finish polishing up the whole the shell, the underpinnings of the operating system. And I know this is super techy to start a podcast, but we're going to get into foolishness later on. But so bear with me. But yeah, so the underpinnings was just it is what it is, and it's gotten better. I tell people who haven't used Windows in a long time, it's not what it used to be. It is a lot better. Apps and stuff run better. The hardware is better. Overall package is better, and it doesn't deserve the scorn that people have. Because I know a lot of MacBook people turn their nose up on Windows just to be arrogant about it. And for the most part, they had good points. The hardware was trash, and Apple has a better seamless product in some regards because they create the hardware, and you can't beat that. You honestly can't. If you like to support the channel, you can buy something from my t-shirt shop. That's djkeo.store. I simplified the address and made it easier to find, as well as you can buy something from Instagram, djkeo underscore. My store's there as well as on my website. I appreciate everybody who supported the channel through the years and got new designs and new stuff is coming soon. Link is in the description as always. And I thank you for watching and peace out, bitches.